morning. You're welcome to the program Breakfast Delights. Today, Wednesday, the 22nd of May, 2024, here in King Media from the stable of La Silkin Communications Limited. Breakfast Delights is a program that will bring to you to start your morning, to go along with you so that as you're working in your office or you're at your shop doing one thing or the other, you're listening to it, is going, keeping you going, making the job to be going on smoothly. That is why we are here. That's why we have different kind of segments on the program to put you on that mood to make you achieve what you want to achieve as you have come out today or your daily activity. Welcome again today, Wednesday, at the second day of May 2024. It's a rainy day, I guess, in your area. Definitely, the showers of blessing will have been there this morning. We'll pray that God make that shower of blessing a very good one that will give every opportunity positive one and give us multiple positive transformation in our society, in every sector. We pray it makes it a better one for us. It is now I welcome you again to the program, and this segment is what we call Issues in the Polity. It's a segment on Breakfast Delight that will have interview. We have guests that will shed more light on certain issues that we feel people need to know more about it. And today on the program, I welcome you as we have our guests who will be talking to us on two salient issues. We're going to be talking about the student loan initiative that the program the government has proposed and is about to be implemented, and also we're talking about the electricity regulation. What do we want to say about it? So I welcome you once again. My name is Fauzia Salakosoni, and today, as usual on the segment, I have a guest in the studio who will be shedding light on this to help us to understand better what those issues are all about and how well we should embrace them so that it will be positive and be productive for everyone to enjoy. I have Mr. Marufdin Bello in the studio. Mr. Maruf Bello is a public analyst, a human rights activist, a social commentator. You're welcome to the program. Good morning, Mr. Bello.
Good morning, listeners. Thank you for having me first. Yeah.
All right.
It's my pleasure being in the studio again.
We are so delighted to have you because each time we have you, you're always helping us to understand the policies that the government is making very well. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Please don't forget, you can always follow us on all our social media and those key media on Facebook, on Instagram, and on X, formerly Twitter. Then please, I kindly beg you, subscribe to our YouTube page as well. Doing this for us is also helping us to grow. Thank you so much. So now let's move to the program of the day. We're talking about the first one. Let's start from the student loan.
Okay.
Student loan, the initiative. We would like to understand what is the significance, what is the purpose of this initiative? What is it out here to achieve?
Yeah, you will recall, particularly for those of us that followed the 2023 election campaign that started in late 2022. If you had followed the campaign very well, listening to all the presidential aspirants, he continued to emphasize that he will introduce that. And one of the purpose by which he said he wanted that to be done was that one, there are a lot of indigent students who go through a lot of hardship during their studies in university, particularly both at the state and federal universities. And secondly, as one of the ways, he is thinking of stopping incessant strikes in our higher institutions. During his campaign, opined that if the funding of the university can be made to be largely from revenue generated by the universities, meaning that they charge right rather than government subsidizing the cost of education, and they won't have to depend solely on federal government for their salaries and some of their overheads, while in return the subsidy removed from education will now be channeled into giving student loans so that they can get their education. What was his own priority is that he wanted 4 years to be 4 years. He wanted students to get into the university. If you are studying 4 years course, you won't spend more than 4 years in school. If you are studying 7 years course, you won't spend. And so if the university will not have to expect government to fully fund them, and would not go on strike because government has not paid them for whatever they're asking for, and then students can have access to a loan to fund their education things will go rightly and an issue of strike will become history. And he has been trying to fulfill that since the one that he came into power. On 2 different occasions, he has attempted to launch the student education fund program, and then got it suspended, and eventually he has promised that will be launched on the 24th. At least the portal will be open on the 24th. I think the last time it was announced, then they discovered they need to put into consideration people who want to go into vocational studies, which is an area government have been trying to prioritize since 1999, so that there will be less pressure on hands-on skills that we are lacking in our industry.
And so looking for white-collar jobs.
Yeah, that was what delayed it between April and now. And now that they are ready, we are hoping that nothing would give reasons for the government to postpone it again. It should be in the next 2 days, if I'm correct.
Yes,
by May 24th.
By Friday 24th.
So students are gearing up to start applying.
But from that information, what we got to know is that by that 24, it's going to start with the federal universities, not the state-owned universities.
It is expected. In fact, I was thinking that government would just focus on the federal universities because they are the one that is the state that created our new university, so they should have their own policies to. Because if you have a state university where the priority is always that their indigene gets in first before non-indigene, then it's their schools. So they should also find a way to replicate that loan system at the state level, mostly strictly for their own indigene. But for the federal, it's for everybody. As long as you can get the required score to get into the university, you are welcome. But the federal government is magnanimous enough to say it will cover everybody, both states and federal university, but that they intended to start with the federal university. The other reason why that is why they are starting with federal, I guess, is because the federal university are usually more organized than the state university. Coordination are more effective to a large extent, with the exception of 1 or 2 few state universities. As we speak, the National Education Loan Fund has directed that all universities should upload their student details on their portal, so that when a student applies, he won't need to be proving that he's a student of that university. The portal, the system easily picks the person out. There will be screening. So rather than asking the student, for instance, a student in Sokoto State, to travel down to Abuja to come and prove he's a student of University of Sokoto to get the loan. Once the university have posted all details of their student, the system can easily pick a particular student who is applying out from the list, get it verified, and get the loan assessed to them, which I know that most state universities will be struggling to do as of now. They will eventually do it, but most of them don't have that facility to quickly do it within the shortest possible period of time that NERC fund has requested for those data. And that is a major reason why I think they are starting with the federal, because to the extent I will know, most federal universities will have uploaded their student details.
How do we want to ensure that this purpose is achieved? Because the money will be paid into the school's account. Are we sure that there's not going to be manipulation, even though those students are from that school and they will have put all their information on the portal, the Nigerian system? How will the government be so sure that this initiative is actually going to those indigent, not somebody who will bring his or her own family members?
Government, data has improved since the days of President Jonathan to a large extent, even before then, but the improvement became much more obvious around that period. We now have BVN, we have NIN, we have all that. It's easy for government now to pick a particular student based on the requirement requested for on the portal, to give details of their parents. So it's easy for government to trace the account of the father and mother, the parent of a particular student applying, see the kind of cash flow in their account. I'm not saying that is the process. I'm just trying to say the possibility. Check the profile of their finances. Would that child be qualified to be called indigent? The parent could afford to pay his school fees. And in any case, for this loan, now we even want government to see it beyond indigents. Any student that want to take the loan. Some students, their parents might be rich and they want to be independent of their parents. For issues that we may not understand. There are family dynamics. There are students who may not really flow with their parents at home and want to still get themselves educated. You know, there are occasions where a particular student want to study a course and the parent will insist it's a particular course. And for that, they won't want to release funds. And government has no business in stopping the child from achieving his own personal dream. So the purpose will be to release student for the loan for every student that applies. And government saying they will pay to the school is a better decision. Recently, I was reading on social media, a parent sent 1.2 million to his to their ward to pay his school fees and used it to do sport betting and lost the entire money and then came on social media to be pleading for people to fund him to pay his school fees. If the system has permitted the parent to pay directly to the school, that wouldn't happen. So students, young fellas could be reckless sometimes. So it's better government pays the fee into the school account. After all, they pick the detail of the student from that from the school list. They pay the fee into the school account, then notify the student that his or her fee has been paid from the loan, and then maybe some basic things they need that comes with the loan can be paid directly to the student on a monthly basis. Okay,
I guess with what we have said now, is going to be a very flourishing one for both the student and the school. But before we go, I want to say specifically, of course, some students will go for vocational. It will help them direct. What advantages, what improvements, what goodies will this initiative add to the education sector?
Yeah, number one, it would help the aspiring students, because it is not all students, all intending students that end up getting to the university, not because they don't qualify. They have the required score, they are admitted, they got into school, but by the time clearance is being done before the right exam, they could not afford to pay, and so they have to drop out. It happens a lot. This will eliminate that. So the student don't have to bother whether his or her parents are financially capable. Once he can get admission, use his admission to apply for the loan and get the clearance to access the loan. That will help to improve the opportunities of people getting into the university. Another thing is that there won't be the headache of students burdening themselves to be thinking of when would their school fee be paid. They know it has been paid. And even I'm aware that there are some basic expenses that are also attached to the loan for the student, maybe to acquire basic things like textbook, transport to the school, which will be paid directly to the student. So issue of not having any money at all that will require the student to start hustling around to would reduce. By the time those little token comes in and with the little the parent are sending, the pressure of the student having to go into all sort of unwarranted hustling to get a life so that he can face the studies would reduce drastically, and that will help the society and also improve the performance rates of students in the school, because when they are more focused, that will help, and so many other benefits. Though there will also be new challenges and problems like pressures of everybody wanting to go to school now, and some other things that we have not envisaged now.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Morufdin Bello. Mr. Morufdin Bello has been talking to us about the student loan that the federal government has put in place. Just like he has said, it has a lot of advantages. It will help people to want to have interest in going to school more. It will enable them to have access to money that they can use to pay for this education. Okay, thank you so much. Let's go for this short break. Well, we'll come back. We are still here. The program is still Breakfast Delight, and we are still on issues in the polity segment. When we return, Mr. Maruf Bello is still here. We'll still be here till end of the program. We'll have another topic to talk about. Join us quickly, but please don't forget, kindly follow us on all our social media and do Skin Media on them, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be right back after this short musical break. Alright, you're welcome back. The program is still Breakfast Delight, and the segment is issues in the polity. We'll be talking with our in-house policy analyst, Mr. Maruf Bello. He has spoke a lot about the loans, the student loans that the government has put in place. Now, let's go to this topic, Mr. Maruf Bello, electricity regulation. We've just heard now that the NERC, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, has transferred the oversight of this regulatory to states. What does it mean? Does that mean the states now has the power to decide what consumption people take, how much they pay for it? Please enlighten us what this simply means.
Yeah, first, I think it's a statutory issue. The act establishing the NERC has been reviewed and is inherent in the law that such power should go to the states. And I think the wisdom of the lawmakers for taking that decision is that the consumers of electricity are state-based. There is no, we are all states, we reside in a particular state. Nobody reside, everybody not reside in Abuja. So it's, and the fact is easier for the state to monitor the distribution and other related operators in the electricity sector than being done by the president. Also for the fact that that same act has removed electricity generation, distribution and the rest from the exclusive list of the federal government to concurrent list. So if it has been, if a power has been given to the state to also generate electricity and also sell to distributors, there should also be a concurrent power given to them to also regulate and see how well those electricities are utilized. For example, if the transmission company claims they give certain number of electricity watts to a disco, the disco in particular, for instance, cover Ogun State, and then it's easy for the state to be able to establish if that quantity of electricity was actually distributed within that state, if it's not diverted to another state or kept, because these are different practices that disco does. They take, say, for example, 500 megawatts, 100 or 200 or 30 megawatts from transmission company. I only distribute 15. I want to use that 15 to generate the money worth that
for the 500 watts.
So these are issues that have been giving us challenges, and I think that is the wisdom that the lawmaker thought through to say, okay, let states, being the main beneficiary of the electrics being distributed, monitor, and that will make it more effective than having to be monitored by the federal agencies. Although the National Electricity Regulatory Commission have, in recent time, have presence in virtually all the states, unlike it used to be. Between around 2015-2016, they've been making sure they open up zones and offices across the federation, and their doors are always open to people to come and lodge complaints, issues they're having with discos, and it has relatively improved the relationship between customers and the discos, but there's still a lot of long way to go. We've not been able to solve the issue of crazy bills. We've not been able to solve the issue of illegal disconnection of people's electricities, and so many issues like that. Electricity distribution company staff acts like debt collectors rather than marketers trying to woo customer to stay with them. They have the advantages of not having competition in respective zones and regions where they operate. And so since there is no competition, without regulation, they misbehave a lot. So I think in order to make the regulation more effective, that is why they are pushing part of that power to the states to also assist in ensuring that electricity gets to the consumers that need it. Don't forget that sector is one that is very critical to any economy, and this government has been trying to look at how they will get it to the people. Generation has slightly improved, but it's not being felt at the grassroots.
Okay, this is a big digression. Like you said, it's a statutory matter, statutory power. Can't states also have such power to have state police? Because security, safety of the people, the citizens, it is the sole responsibility of the government.
Yes, I think
although it's not about a digression, but I think we can talk about it.
It's even related to what we are trying to say. So within the shortest period, this government will be in office for about a year now. 8 days down the line to be a year. I think those are the kind of reform they've proposed. The issue of state police is currently being discussed, being looked at the National Assembly. There are people having the fears of the way some governors behave. That having such powers in their hand could be suicidal to the society, particularly to oppositions within those states, and people want to stand up to government in trying to ensure that right things are done. Don't forget that if you look at our politics since 1999, the level of how do I put it? The level of misrule at the state level is far outweighs whatever you can talk about at the federal level. The kind of focus and monitoring at the federal level don't exist at the state. The governors get away with so many things, and I think that is the reason for all this reform. So there are so many things, just like we talk about the electricity that usually is always in the exclusive list before, now has been in the concurrent list. State can do something about it, federal can do something about it. The same thing applies to police. If in the wisdom of the legislators, they think it is in the best interest of Nigerians that state police is created, and find a way to restrict them to certain matters, I think it will be good. It will improve security. One of the ideas I've also talked about when I have opportunities like this is that when you are recruiting policemen and you are posting, for instance, a citizen of Lagos, a recruit from Lagos, to go and work in Kano, the first 2-3 years will be to learn the environment of Kano. Then just about when he's settling down, you're already transferring him to a boy. But if you keep him in a state, in an environment he understands very well, he knows all the corners, he knows the mentality of the boys there, he easily find it easy to investigate crimes around that place without being guided. Insecurity would reduce largely. If you look at what is happening in the north, where we have banditry, most of these bandits are locals. They get it done easily when locals join them, when the local vigilantes join them, because they understood the terrain. The same thing applies to police. The same thing applies to electricity. If you have locals who knows that once you deny them electricity, they suffer it too. They are known. If everybody who works with the electricity distribution company around me are also people in my community, we can always question them, why don't we have lights? And then it's easy to understand when there are problems, because the person explaining to them is someone they know, someone they live with every day, someone they can trust, that is part of them, who don't lie to tell them this is the reason why there is no light. They can trust him that he's also suffering it, and so they will believe and understand the disco. But in a situation where you don't give me light, for instance, where I stay currently, we've not had, I can make bold to say that the total of electricity we've enjoyed between January and now in total it's not up to 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then you bring bills and you expect people to pay, there will be crisis. So when state begin to regulate these things, it will be easy to fight, because the state themselves will know that certain area had not even enjoyed an hour electricity for almost a month. They will be able to tell the regulators, you don't even bother taking bills there because you have not served them. The issue now is that people don't enjoy a service and they have to pay for it. They want them to pay, is not even the issue. They have to pay for it because the bill will be brought without prepaid meter. And then you will disconnect their light after a while, saying they've not paid the bill of what they never consumed.
In this case, Mr. Maruf Bello, how are we so sure that the same challenge that we face, like you have said, for sometimes you've not been enjoying light and they bring bill and you have to pay? How are we sure that as the power has been given to the state now, such won't even repeat itself? Because we are all humans. Those who are the federal government, they are humans, they are Nigerians, and those who are even in states, even though they are in different states, but they are still Nigerians. And we have that the Nigerian mindset that some of us have. How do we ensure that as this has been taken, this power has been given to state, such challenges will not continue to repeat itself? Well, if we don't have sincerity of purpose and change ourselves.
There will always be challenges. But I want to believe it won't be this current challenge. Maybe new challenges will come. One of the problems is that we have this mindset that every problem of the country is from the federation. It's from the federal government. So we are all focused and fixated on the federal government. And it's because when you look at the list of the concurrent and statutory list, exclusive list, you see that there are so many things that affect our lives that are in the exclusive list and that ordinarily shouldn't be there. They should be state and local government affairs. So as federal government shared those things on the exclusive list to be statutory, mindset will be changing. That look, this thing is not federal again, it's state. So the noise we make fighting federal government will be centered on the state. The moment such light is beamed on the state will sit up. The reason why states are not sitting up is that you are even fighting government, federal government, for what you should be holding them onto. Since subsidy has been removed, people have been asking questions. What is the benefit of subsidy being removed to us? We are not benefiting. But the truth is that what the federal government did was to divert that subsidy fund removed to the states. Some states are now having ×3 of the allocation they used to have. But we are still fighting federal government, asking for what subsidy was meant for, when by now we are supposed to be chasing the state and say, someone is earning 100,000 and is complaining that his income is not enough, and all of a sudden that 100,000 multiplied to 300,000, the family will feel it. No matter how bad the
family knows that the money has been multiplied.
They will not. That's what I'm saying. We know, but we are not asking questions. If the wife knows that, the analogy I'm trying to make now is that your husband is earning 100,000 before, and he gives you feeding allowance of 30,000, and then you heard that he has gotten promotion and salary has been increased ×3, and he's still giving you 30,000. No matter how dumb that woman is, she will ask questions.
Of course.
My husband, what are you doing with the money that we can't even feel it at home, that your salary has increased?
That's what I'm saying, that because the woman knows, she will ask. But in the case she doesn't know, how will she know that it has been increased? Like, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Like, what I'm trying to say is that if a policy has been made, how well have we made that policy to be known, to people to be educated about, so that they can know who to ask, to be held responsible?
Yes, and you see, that's why I said most of our problems are not really government. We have so many irresponsible citizens and organizations. All our NGOs are fixated on things that are so irrelevant. NGOs are meant to create awareness, to fight basic issues. So look at all the NGOs we have. Who are those asking questions about electricity? Who are those asking questions about subsidy? They are all fixated on an area where they can see free money. Since they are created to take money from the government, not to fight or push government assumption
to what the people want,
to what they ought to put attention on. Those are the issues. We have a NOAA, the National Orientation Agency, that is almost moribund. That agency still have staffs. They have offices in all the federation of the country. They have offices not just in all the federation. NOAA has offices in all the local governments, 771 or 74 local government of the federation. If you get to any local government today, you will see the NOAA's office. Yet people are not being aware of government policies are done. Then we also are ordinary citizens too. How are we knowing about these policies? Because we choose to be responsible. Citizens need to wake up. The essence of our education is to use it to better the society. I used to tell people that on the average, every day when you pick the daily or listen to radio to listen to news, about 75% of stories from that news, the remaining 25% is shared by other states. We focus too much on what is happening in Lagos
and Abuja
alone, and probably Kano and Port Rivers. This shouldn't be. The citizens should focus on their state. Ask questions when necessary. Let me use a very short example. We had NSAS, but I can tell you today, the only state that citizen can talk, even a Kano citizen can say they know what happened after the panel of inquiry was established, is Lagos State. Yet the process was across the federation. All the states established a panel of inquiry. Nobody knew what happened in those days. Even when the issue of that NSAS in itself is more predominant in a certain state in the southeast, where a lot of criminal acts were revealed, nothing happened. People are still questioning the state that did its own diligence work to ensure that people are compensated, people are cared for. Are you getting what I'm saying? So we need to wake up, just as we are putting light on what is being done in Lagos State. We should do that in every other state. And that is the reason why Lagos is fast progressing than any other state. Because they know that people are watching them. So when other states also know that the media is watching, that the citizens are vigilant, everybody will sit up. Nobody in power wants to give power a la carte to someone else. People take it. Nobody in power who has absolute power wants to be responsible. It is the people that will make them to be responsible. If you get to a working state today, go overseas, the so-called civilized country, the citizens are vigilant. That is why those governing them are also careful in what they do. They know that any slight mistake will bring reactions. But here, we take everything in the name of it's our home. So that is where we need to improve. The electricity situation is a sorry state. We are paying for what we are not consuming, and we are okay. Nobody will correct it for us. But when we begin to say no, you won't pay if you don't give it to us,
service,
the service provider themselves will improve. They will try to improve because they know they won't get the pay.
All right, yes, that is a good one, but we hope we hope that every hand will be on deck, as the provider will know that they are supposed to provide the service, and those who are consuming it, because when you provide the service, definitely ordinarily they want to pay for it. Thank you so much, Mr. Morufuddin Bello, our in-house policy analyst. He has been talking to us on these issues we have brought today on the program. We appreciate you for coming, for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us. We hope some other time, okay, you're even our in-house analyst, so you'll always be here with us on the program. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
All right, that's much we can take on the program. Breakfast Delights today, Wednesday, from this segment, Issues in the Polity. You know, the program runs from 10 to 12 before midday. So we are doing this to keep you going positively, smoothly in whatever you're doing. We hope we've been able to enjoy what we have brought for you today. If that is the case, then join us tomorrow for another fresh episode of different segments of Breakfast Delight on King Media. It's on that note we call it a day from this segment. See you tomorrow. My name is Fauzia Salakosoni, but please don't forget, follow us on all our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly Twitter, and also Please, 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 I beg of you, kindly subscribe to our YouTube page. Thank you so much. A very big thank you to my producer and our director, Muhyiddin Yunus. See you tomorrow for another fresh episode. But don't forget, let us all be responsible citizens. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.